Thanks for joining me. This is Danny, and welcome back to Real Tech Season 3 episode number 21, in which we're going to do some house wiring today and other things with tiny pipes. So let's get started. If you were with me in the last episode, then you know that I am preparing for a large project where I'm going to be setting up a lot of auto crafting. I have a few things that I want to do in preparation of that, of which tiny pipes is going to prove to be very helpful. So tiny pipes is a pipe mod, as you might guess, similar to a lot of other pipe mods in Minecraft, where it allows you to transfer items, fluids, forge energy, and redstone. One difference between tiny pipes and other pipe mods is that tiny pipes are tiny and compact and can be placed together in the same block, and they can also be placed within the same block as tiny redstone circuits. Right here, I have a redstone panel that we had set up in a previous episode that's basically telling us whether or not these chests are full. You may remember that when we set up Pretty Pipes, we set up all of these chests, and basically Pretty Pipes is filling these chests from right to left, just because that's how these pipes work. They put them in the closest chests to wherever the source of the items are, which is going to be down here at our crafting terminal. And so these chests are getting filled up from here over to there. So what I did is I set up a tiny redstone system that uses tiny redstone transmitters and tiny comparators in order to tell us basically how many empty chests we have left. And that's what we've got down here. So I've got 8 tiny redstone lamps that are being powered by tiny receivers, and it's basically telling us approximately how much disk space or how much space we have left in our chests. Now, one problem that I've had with this system is that if we were to take something out of this chest, so for instance, I'm down in my terminal downstairs and I decide I want to grab this empty map, right? Then we've got an empty slot here. So then the next time I put something in the system, it's going to fill that empty slot. But it might fill that empty slot with something that we have a stack for in this chest, right? So in order to more efficiently fill these chests and not waste a lot of space and have them fill up on me too quickly, I set up a bunch of tiny pipes to basically move items from this chest into this chest. You know what? Let's not look at that one. Let's look at it. Let's look at this one because it's closer and easier to see. So tiny pipes can be placed on redstone panels from the tiny redstone mod. They can also be placed in world, just like that, just all by themselves. And they can be strung together. They can be oriented in any way. And you can have multiple different types of pipes within each block space. So we could have, redstone pipes, power pipes, item pipes, all that stuff within the same block space. And we use our redstone wrench from Tiny Redstone to configure the ends. So if we click on the end of this, that big end is telling me that it's an input. If we click it again, it goes away, which means it's neither going to input nor output. And then the small end is going to connect to other pipes, and it's also going to export. If we right-click on it with an empty hand, we get this GUI, which allows us to enable and disable things through that interface. So if you can't reach something, like for instance, if we wanted to output to the bottom here and we can't reach the bottom, we could say that the bottom is, well, actually that's pulling, but whatever. So we can configure sides that we can't reach otherwise. And it also tells us that if it's enabled, that means that it can output and connect to other pipes. If it's disabled, there's no connection, no input or output. If it's pulling, then it's allowing input. So we can actually pick this up as one piece, a full piece, or we can use the redstone wrench or have a tiny item pipe in our hand or any tiny redstone component and pick them up again like this. So anyway, so in this case, what I've got going on here is we're pulling from this chest. So you can see that we've got the big side over there that's pulling. It's going through all of these, and then it's inputting into this large chest. And then here, we've actually got the same thing going on. So we're pulling from this chest. So we really only need 2 pipes here because these are right next to each other. So we're pulling from this chest and we're inserting into that chest. And I'm just doing that all the way down the line here. And actually, let's just Yeah, that chest is empty. So let me just remove that chest so we can see that this is what's going on here is we're actually only using a single pipe here to pull from this chest and then input into the chest that was here. And then we're pulling for this chest and inputting into that chest there. So that's how the item pipes work. The item pipes are the same speed as hoppers. So approximately, they're just slightly faster than hoppers. The speed is based on the pulling node. So we could theoretically have multiple pulling nodes here. So let's say we did that. And what direction is it? That's north. So let's say we could pull from the north here and enable down and then just disable everything else. Oops. And now it's going to pull twice as fast because there are 2 pulling nodes or 2 pulling pipes or whatever we want to call them. I'm not going to do that here because we have no reason for speed. So what this did for me is it basically makes it so that if something is removed from this chest, like that map, then it's going to get filled up with something from this chest. And then it's just going to go on down the line so that we're always, everything's always going to be filled from this side on, and everything should end up stacking with like items so that we should never run into a situation where we're not using storage efficiently. So now actually I'm just going to go back here and put this empty map back in there, and that should end up probably in this chest. No, this chest. So there's that map. So now we're going to clean up this mess here. So one of the reasons that I made tiny pipes and one of the reasons that I added it to this pack is because I feel like it's a really good supplement for immersive engineering, because in this pack, the only power transfer that we have are immersive engineering wires, which are amazing for like outdoor long distance wiring, but they're not so great for like house wiring, right? So this is kind of like my house wiring mod in this pack that's going to allow us to have wires running through our walls in the pipes, because we can camouflage our pipes. Now we have these tiny energy pipes. They work very similar to the item pipes and the fluid pipes. I also do plan on doing a spotlight for this mod at some point. We can connect a pipe there, and that should be fine, whatever. We could actually connect it way up at the top too, but it just looks better if it's down there. Let's just power all this stuff up here with this. So we're gonna get rid of that pass-through connector. I'm gonna put an energy pipe here. It doesn't really matter exactly where we put it, but I just wanna make sure that it's on the outer edge of that block. So we're gonna make sure that this is inputting, and then we're just gonna run these pipes this way. By the way, you can lock the position of the pipes by holding down the Alt key and then scrolling, and it'll turn them, and then it'll lock it in place. All right, there's our power pipes coming in from outside, and then down to that thing, and then over to this. And those are actually the only 2. Oh, whoops, I did the wrong side there. That should be west and up. Everything else should be off. So enabled up, enabled west. There, perfect. Okay, so now we can cover these things up and basically make them a part of the walls, or have them be inside the walls. This is where I introduce the block chopper. Now we can use, from tiny redstone, we can use the panel covers. We can also make those same covers in the block chopper using any blocks. Most any blocks that have textures that the block chopper can decipher. So the block chopper allows us to put in a block. We can make tiny blocks out of it, tiny solid blocks for tiny redstone, but we can also make covers out of them. So we've got the dark cover and the light cover. The difference between the two is that the dark cover does not sync to the client, so it's a little bit more efficient that way. But then basically, we can just right click that, and it covers it up. Hooray! That and that. Oh, the lighting is weird. Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to report that to the mod author. That would be me. That looks way better, right? Way better than it did before. And we should, but actually we don't have power coming in yet, because now what we gotta do is we've gotta go out here and put our wire connector back up there, but instead of having an immersive engineering pass-through connector, we're just going to connect a wire connector directly to this. Ta-da! Hooray! So we're filled with power again now. I had to make a small change because for some reason the wire connectors are no longer connecting to the tiny energy pipes. They used to. It used to work. Although that may have been 1.18 that I tested it in, but it doesn't seem to be working here. So they must not do forge energy the same way that other things do. But right now it's charging this guy, and you can see that it refilled the charging station. And I actually used the heater too, and that got refilled as well. So this is working, and then then we can hide all this circuitry. So that the wires are inside the walls, although there is a lighting issue there that I need to fix. I don't know what that's all about, but it still looks better than having the hole in the ceiling and all those wires hanging around. The rate of RF transfer is based on the pulling, just like with the item pipes, and each one will give us 512 RF per tick, or FE per tick. If we want to pull more than that, we can just put more pulling connectors on the other end. The pipes themselves technically don't have a limit. It's all based on the pulling pipe node. So however many you have on there, that's going to determine your speed. Interestingly, the pretty pipes camouflage also has a lighting inconsistency too, but it's in the other direction. It's darker, whereas the tiny redstone covers are light. So yeah, I'll see what I can do to fix that. Slightly unrelated note, I'm doing this again, destroying another excavator, because I want to move this. I've got more than enough coal though. I was getting coal here. I want to get some iron and bauxite right there, because I could always use more iron. I've got a lot of iron, but you know, I could always use more, and I don't need any more nickel, which is what I was getting at the other place I was getting iron, so this will be good because I'm almost out of aluminum. Here we go again. Ready? Ta-da. Ding. Ta-da. One more time. I recently replaced a lot of our low voltage wires going from that factory over there to the excavator. So I'm actually going to finish replacing all of these low voltage lines with medium voltage lines, because we're going to need these to run into our house for our auto crafting setup. I don't think the power we're producing over there is going to be enough, and I actually do want to connect these two networks anyway. And the low voltage wires have a lot more loss than the medium voltage, so this will save us a lot of power, and also get us to draw from the power that we're producing over there, which is way more. Alright, I've got medium voltage running all the way, well, there, and then it doesn't go anywhere after that, because we don't really need it over there yet. But I've also got it going into the ground here, through a pass-through, a feed-through insulator, and it's feeding into this HV capacitor. So I just have a wire in here in this room that will never go in ever again. So we're just gonna hide that room. And this is just basically, that's our outlet. That's the outlet that's gonna power the rest of this room. And then what we can do is we can run the tiny pipes through the walls, like use camouflage there, and then just have them pop out wherever we're going to need power. And we'll have a reserve here of 4 million RF, I believe it is, or FE. And we'll be able to pull up to 4096 FE per tick from each side if we want to. However, we only have lines that are feeding us. Well, actually the lines could be feeding us that much, but we only have a connector over there on the other side of this that's feeding us 1024. Pretty sure that's going to be enough. The assemblers don't require a whole lot of power. We're also going to have to get some create rotational energy in here as well, because we're going to be using some of the create mechanical crafters. I finally made a platform for my trolley, The main reason I did this, I just kind of quickly threw this together. Just because winter's coming, and when we get snow on top of the trolley, it causes problems, including bugs. This will prevent that from happening. And it also makes it a little easier to get up here, because now I have stairs. I don't have to jump. Hooray! I've already got all this bauxite and a couple stacks, and when we triple this, it's going to be more than we'll ever need. I'm pretty sure that we will never need more bauxite than this. So I'm just going to process this stuff, and then I'm going to move our excavator again, this time in pursuit of redstone. And again. This is right by the mine over here. It's the redstone pentlandite site. There's cinnabar and pentlandite here, but a very small amount of pentlandite, which is iron and nickel. So we might get a little more iron and nickel out of this, which is fine. We can always use more iron. Not so much nickel, but iron for sure. But redstone is what I'm after. Ta-da! Yeah, like every bucket is full of redstone. That's good. That's good. Ooh, milestone. We have almost completely filled this. Oh, the diesel generator must have just kicked in. We've almost completely filled our oil tank. These tanks can hold 512 buckets. We were at 511.5, but then the diesel generator kicked in. Yep, I can hear it running right now, which means that oil is being processed into sulfurized diesel, which that tank is full. But once this tank gets full, that means our oil pump is going to be not running all the time anymore, which means that we'll be using less power, and we're really going to be able to stretch our oil out now. We're almost out of oil in this chunk too, but I know that this next chunk over also has a lot of oil, so if we do run out of oil in this chunk, we'll be able to move to the next chunk, and that should probably keep us filled forever. Well, we've done it. It's completely full, and our well just stopped. Now, interestingly, I just did a core sample. We're out of the reserve of oil here, which means that we're only going to be able to get 6 millibuckets per tick of trace oil, so we're going to have to move our pump jack in order for us to get large amounts of oil again. This might actually keep up with our needs at the moment, but eventually we're definitely going to want to get some more oil. Yeah, there we go. So now we're going to get a lot of oil again. I've actually lost some oil during that process, but I've got it up on a platform up there above the water, you know. I should probably have it look like there's some kind of a pipe sticking down under there, just for realism. That actually looks kind of cool up there. Let's look at it from over here. Yeah, that looks kind of interesting. Nice, nice. We're full again, and that happened really fast this time. Just whenever the diesel generator kicks in, the oil pump runs for a little while. It keeps this thing topped, it keeps this thing topped, and we could probably hear that the diesel generator's running. Yeah. Nice. So speaking of tiny pipes, so in order to process this redstone ore, of course we could just put it in a furnace or blast furnace and we would get 1 redstone dust. I mean, why would we do that, right? We could break it and get more than that. We could put it in the crusher from Immersive Engineering and get 6. Or we can put it in the crusher from Create and get 8. Now this is kind of rare, where the crusher from Create gives us so much more than the crusher from Immersive Engineering. So what I'm going to do is we're going to obviously go through the Create crusher. That's going to get us 8 plus 25% chance of 6. So on average, we're going to get about 10. A little bit less than that, like 9.5 or something like that. So, right, we've got this ore tripling system set up where it goes through the crusher from Create, and then it goes through the crusher from Immersive Engineering. Obviously, we don't want that to happen, because if you put redstone in there, you lose it. It's gone, because there is no recipe for redstone. I've got this item router that routes stuff into this chest that we don't want going into the crusher. That chest then hooks into our pretty pipe system and pulls everything back. We have a problem in that our filter is full here. We've got this one item router. I don't really have room to put another item router here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to output redstone onto the top. And I'm going to put a chest up there. And then we're going to do something super cheap. We're going to take one single tiny item pipe. Here's what I'm going to do. Just to make this simpler, I'm going to configure it right here. So I'm just going to configure it right here. We're going to say, okay, let's just right click with an empty hand and we're going to say to the north, we want to pull. So pulling north, everything else disabled except down, we want enabled. Up, we want disabled, right? So that's the shape we want. Pulling from that direction, outputting down. And then we're going to break it with a pickaxe so that it actually drops it as a block. As actually a redstone panel block. And then I'm going to set that there. So whatever gets put into this chest should end up going into that chest, which then gets pulled by our pretty pipe system. So if we put, let's just test this with a couple for now. If we put those in there, they should get crushed and then end up in this chest. And yeah, and now they're being filtered into this chest, and they're being pulled into our pretty pipe system. Nice. So now I'm going to put the whole stack in there, and we're going to end up with a lot of redstone. I'm not going to be able to let that excavator run for very long, because otherwise we're going to run out of space for redstone. It's raining again, and that means it's also snowing up by my base. I love seeing that. It's just stuff pouring in from the factory. Got lots of redstone now. We got lots of aluminum now. We've got a decent amount of iron, and we're actually soon going to have some more of that. And we have sources for more of pretty much everything except for diamonds and emeralds. Those are the two resources that we still need to secure. And 2 episodes from now, we're going to secure one of those. So next time, we are going to do the auto crafting factory down here, down in the tool shed. Remember the tool shed? Because it looks like a tool shed from the outside. But on the inside, it's going to be a big, huge factory that's going to be doing all of our auto crafting for us. Most of it, actually. We already have some auto crafting going on in that factory. And we have some actually going on upstairs in our base. But this is going to be where we're going to be setting up a whole bunch of auto crafting next time. And then the time after that, we're going to do a stream in which we're going to build a rail network that goes out to a place where we can get lapis for the excavator, or with the excavator. So that's going to be the following episode. And then after that, once we have auto crafting and we have lapis set up, I think we're going to get started with mine colonies. So I hope you join me for that. If you do have any questions, comments, ideas, or whatever, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And of course, if you did enjoy this, don't forget to click the like button. And join me next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.